Greetings, fellow space engineers. I want to just apologize up front. I am not a YouTuber, so this is not going to be very professional. I just want to I wanted to post, as I say that, I want to post a follow-up to a video that I made a little while back about making the simplest heliostat or sun tracker in Space Engineers. And there is a simpler one that I've made a couple of times, but it does have a severe limitation. And while the other one, if you've seen the other video, you'll see that I basically take two hinges and use it to align a rotor with the rotation, the orbit of the sun, so that's on a coincident axis with the orbit of the sun. That one is a little bit of a pain to set up just because you have to align the two hinges until you figure out which direction to point the thing so that the sun is perfectly going around it. It's a little time consuming. It's not horrible. But it takes a little twiddling back and forth, little adjustments here and there until you get it exactly right. This is a bit easier. It's a lot easier on the moon and on planets, but it's a little bit easier on asteroids, and I'll explain that. On the moon, or on a planet, you basically just need to get and of course I forgot to grab the plates. You basically just get a cube, and I'll just rotate it a little wonky here just to show what I'm talking about. And you'll notice the message: press B to change placement mode, hit B to change gravity lined, and then you can place the block. And you basically just place it on what appears to be the highest surface, and then build up from there. And that's where you put your rotor, and then make sure everything else connects off that, going down to your base. And mine's underneath here. At that point, the rest is easy. You just put a rotor on top, stack a bunch of blocks. I put a few blocks sticking out like that to make alignment really easy based on the shadow. Just use it like a sundial. I didn't even bother getting this one as accurate as I did on the asteroid. If anybody's really interested, I can show that one as well. And a different asteroid from the one that I've got in the other video. But this is mainly just for rotational alignment, for the initial alignment. Once you've got it aligned, set the RPMs to 0.008 RPM. Now, if anybody's done the math, they'll know that that sounds really wrong, and it is. Space Engineers I don't understand it, but the timing is off. So, for example, this is a 2-hour default day period. So a 2-hour orbit. That should work out to 0.008333 continuous RPM. But if you set it at 0.008333, it rotates too quickly. And every single day you'll gain more than that distance of shadow, a lot more if I remember correctly, on every single day, every single rotation. It gains more and more and more, so it rotates way too fast. A little experimentation and found 0.008 is actually perfect. This one has made many, many, many rotations, and the shadow has not grown in size. It moves a little up and down based on which direction it's pointed, because I didn't have this perfectly aligned. I may have used the asteroid method when I put it up, and I'll explain that in a second. But that is basically what I did to set this up. And it's always putting out near the theoretical maximum, which the theoretical maximum is 160, and I'm putting out 159. And it's very consistent. 24 hours a day, it's always pointing directly at the sun. Sun's going around me all day long up here. So this is a great source of power, and I've got a mess of stuff down there, so it's not a huge base, but this produces more power than I need. So if you're on an asteroid, what you need to do, and I will the second time actually it's more than the second time I'm recording this because I'm, like I said, not a YouTuber. So I am going to learn from my previous mistake and charge back up here. Little trick, by the way. If you K into this and switch to inventory, you can actually go all the way into your inventory and everything here. Can't remember. Yes, you can. You can drag stuff through here. Probably a bug, but the tricks like double clicking and things like that, shift clicking and control clicking do not work here. But if you drag it, it will. So, little tip, I've never seen that mentioned. And I don't know why I'm opening the doors manually, because I've got a sensor on that. Anyways, so for if you're on an asteroid, basically just try and find what appears to be one of the poles based on, it takes a little while because you have to watch the rotation of the sun, figure out which way it's going, and try to get approximately in the right place. And say I'm a little off here, you basically try and align the cube as much as possible, sight along the edge and aim it, like at the bottom edge of the sun or something. But try to, just pick an angle and try to keep it as aligned as possible. I mean, that's pretty darn close to aiming at the sun. But of course, when it gets around this way, it's going to be off, and it's going to be aiming up way above the sun. So wait about a half an hour, because that'll mean it's a 90-degree movement since it's a 2-hour orbit. And then come back up again. And say the angle, of course, when you pick your block half an hour later, it's not going to be aligned. Put it right against the other one to snap it into alignment in this axis, and then, or that plane rather, and then you're going to adjust it on one axis only to align it with the plane of the movement, the orbit of the sun. So it doesn't have to be perfect, but right about there is about as good as you're going to get. Notice this one's completely out of alignment with that one, but in this direction, it's still pointing right under the sun. So get rid of that one and use this to start your base. Have this, take this all the way out, and extend it as far as you need to wherever you want to build your base. Now, if you already have a base, it gets a little more complicated. You can use connectors, hinges, various different things to connect the two different grids. It's okay if it's a subgrid. You'll still transfer power. It'll transfer power over connected connectors, things like that. So there are workarounds if you've already got a base. But if you're planning a new base, use this method if you don't mind being at one of the poles, and you'll get it aligned nearly perfectly, and you'll have 24-hour power with really cheap supplies. So, hope that helps. Have a good one, and happy engineering.